Now, I might say some shit that you don't like, but one thing I would never do is tell you a lie. And since people keep asking me about my thoughts on the Dearborn, Michigan situation with ICE raids and these white nationalists coming in and attacking Arab Americans, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm complicit because I'm not. I'm conflicted. Do I personally believe they're getting what they deserve? No, because nobody should be treated like that. These are human beings. However, they are getting what they voted for. Baby, don't argue with me, argue with the numbers. They did not vote for Kamala Harris. They voted for this. They voted for Trump knowing that Trump had a Muslim ban beforehand, knowing that Trump and the entire Republican Party was saying that they would turn Gaza into a parking lot.
September 11 was our darkest hour. October 7 was Israel's darkest hour. They are our best friend. And the Palestinians are taught to kill us at 2 years old. They won't let a Palestinian in Jordan. They won't let a Palestinian in Egypt. And Harris wants to bring them to you. I'm on the side of Israel. You're on the side of Israel. Donald Trump's on the side of Israel. And they're on the side of the terrorists.
And if you honestly believe that they didn't know that this would be their result, just listen to what came out of their mouths.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of a Trump presidency. In fact, I feel like if it does happen, then there's going to be bigger momentum to confront the genocide.
The other question is, how can you ask black people for advocacy when these same folks say we're not welcome in their communities?
If you don't want to vote for Jill, vote for Donald Trump. But do not give a vote to Kamala Harris and expect to be welcomed by my community.
They said they would rather vote for Satan than harm reduction.
We are going to do everything in our power to make sure Kamala Harris doesn't win. If you want Donald Trump to win, say that. Bitch, I will vote for Satan if I have to.
But speaking of harm, how do we stand in solidarity with a group of individuals who actually wished for harm for us, who said that they don't care about how oppressed we are, and in fact inflicted harm? Oh, baby, you gonna hate me when I pull this receipt. Back in November of 2023, there was a Democratic holiday party in Michigan where pro-Palestinian protesters bum rushed a building that they were not invited to and assaulted a black woman activist and put her in the hospital.
There were no arrests in the chaos that broke out here at the Common Pub near Wayne State Saturday night, but there was an assault that was caught on cell phone camera. Bobby Johnson is the woman who was punched in the face by a protester, leaving her bloody. The protesters were being pushed out as when one of them punched Johnson in the face. Some then proceeded to bang on the windows from the outside.
They had their boots and shoes bamming up against the windows. You can imagine how that sound and how fearful that the people were, especially the senior people that was there.
Wayne State Police were first to arrive and were told they moved them back and assisted in getting Johnson transported to the nearby hospital.
Look, I ain't telling people what to do or how to feel, but I'm going to tell you what's real. I believe in standing in solidarity with communities, particularly marginalized communities, to come up with a common goal and purpose. But however, I can't stand in solidarity with people who might stab me. I'm not saying all of them are violent or irrational, because there was some particular Arab American groups who actually endorsed Kamala Harris that were in Michigan. There are some who actually listened to the Palestinians in Gaza that wanted Kamala to win over Trump. However, we're not going to act like black people don't have the right to have pause when we were bombarded and the reciprocants of the anti-blackness and the harassment. They called us genociders, baby killers. Look, I want our communities to come together for a common goal and purpose, but however, there needs to be a reconciliation. There needs to be an apology on how y'all treated black people during this past election. When we warned you, you didn't want to listen. When we told you what was to come, you called us crazy. When we told you Trump was lying to you, you didn't want to hear us, boo. But you took it to another extreme with harassment. You took it to another extreme with voting for this fucking felon in chief. You took it a step further, voting for Donald Trump, thinking that we would suffer, thinking that you were going to teach us a lesson, when the only lesson that was learned is white supremacy comes with an expense. Have you ever heard of the phrase, the grave that you're digging for me, you're only digging for yourself? And as much as people want me to punch down and tell you to go fuck yourself, that's just not in me. I've never been that selfish. So I'm going to call out ICE. I'm going to call out the white supremacists, but don't get it twisted, babe. This ain't for you, okay? Because I understand these words when they say that nobody's free until all of us are free and all of us are interconnected and chained together. I understand that if you sink, I'm going to be sinking along with you. And I know that sitting on the sidelines while others suffer won't set me free.